who are well versed in the subject matter to enrich this discourse. I warmly acknowledge and appreciate our guest speakers, Mr. Kim Oguniran, FCIS, who's a past president of ICSAN and CEO of Eximia Realty Company Limited. Mr. Sheson Shobowale, FCIS, Head of Legal Services, Union Bank of Nigeria, and of the Council of our Youth. Mrs. Tinu Awe, ACIS, Chief Executive Officer, TMSN Limited, also very, very involved in the corporate governance ecosystem from the regulatory and, of course, the implementation viewpoints. We are confident that their insights drawn from years of experience and professional excellence will greatly illuminate our understanding of the theme. I also wish to commend members of ICSAN's Publicity and Advocacy Committee under the chairmanship of Mrs. Abiola Lassane, the FCIS, for their diligence in this program, as well as all our members and participants who have taken time to be part of this important engagement. I must also once again commend our moderator who started off well, Diola, well done, and of course the team at the Secretariat. I encourage everyone to listen attentively, engage meaningfully, and contribute thoughtfully. Let us move beyond passive participation to active engagement so that together we can shape ideas that will influence policy, practice, and progress. As we reflect on our aspirations for institutional excellence and an enduring legacy, I must draw our collective attention to one project that is important to all of us, and that is our new National Secretariat building. This project is more than just a physical structure. It represents our identity, our growth, and our confidence in ICSAN's future. We have, by the grace of God and the commitment of our members and other donors, recorded commendable progress in this project. I am very pleased to report that we have just completed the casting of the second floor and the columns, and so we're heading by God's third floor. However, as with all legacy undertakings of this magnitude, its timely completion requires sustained financial support and collective ownership. I therefore appeal to all our members, our corporate organizations, development partners, friends of ICSAN, and well-meaning individuals to continue supporting this project, whether through direct contributions or whether institutional partnerships. We have some organizations and individuals that have taken up interest, for instance, in having a room or a floor named after them, and we still have space for more. Or by connecting the Institute to potential donors. We make that appeal to everyone that please, if you know a donor, we'll be happy to make that visit and connect. To our members, I wish to remind you that regular donations will go a very long way to helping us complete this project. I am confident that together we will bring this project to completion and proudly bequeath to the future a secretariat that truly reflects the stature and aspirations of ICSAN. Once again, I welcome you to the 2026 conversation and wish you fruitful deliberations. ICSAN, greater together. God bless ICSAN. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you. Adiola, please unmute yourself. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for the wonderful acknowledgement. I see the claps, please. Let's keep that coming. Several of the things that the president said, we must be building our own secretariats. We be doing that. We must ensure that we have building institutions that factor in governance into their systems, including data privacy, and shape ideas that will impact policies. Amazing. Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, President, for all of those wonderful things. And I see that a lot of us have been listening to the President in all the speeches that she's been giving, because I see that our contributions align very much with the things that she's charged us to do, including industry partnerships that some of us have highlighted that would like to see, and some of us who even want us to be ahead of associations like the NBA. Please keep listening, keep contributing. Like the president has said, we can only do this together through the collective ownership of everyone. Thank you so much, ma'am. And with that, I will be introducing my very special chair, the chair of the Publicity Committee, Mrs. Abiola Lasende, to give us her opening remarks, and the host of today.
Thank you so much, Diola. Our amiable president and chairman of council, esteemed members of the governing council, distinguished speakers, respected stakeholders, my dear colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us for today's meeting, the chairman of the Publicity and Advocacy Committee of our great institute, to welcome you to the 2026 edition of The Conversation. I warmly welcome you all and sincerely again thank you for making time to be part of this important engagement. It is a loaded week following the Eid holiday. So I know that being here today for a lot of us is a sacrifice. And it shows how much we love our programs and how we are always willing to learn, unlearn, relearn, and just be at the very forefront of our professional development. So thank you. The conversation was conceived, like my president said, as a platform for thought leadership. That's a summary. We are a thought leader, we are thought leaders in governance, in public administration, corporate governance, professional services. So this platform was conceived for that. It enhances our advocacy, it drives meaningful dialogue on issues that shape our national and professional landscape. Now, over the year, the program has grown in stature and relevance, reflecting ICSAN unwavering commitment to advancing governance discourse and influencing policy direction in Nigeria. I think that's what we do best. That's what we wake up thinking about. That's what we sleep thinking about. How to be that catalyst, how to be the very change we want to see, how we keep pushing that. And I'm really happy that this year we're bringing it all the way back home. Our theme is the legacy of excellence, a conversation for ICSAN's role in reshaping governance for economic resilience and sustainable digital transformation. Couldn't have been more timely. I'll just to some people at the meeting I had before that, look, it's a matter of time. If you're not happening, please listen, digital transformation world, it's just a matter of time. It will happen to you. And by the time we're waking up, we're wondering what could have gone wrong. So please, let's take every opportunity, see every opportunity to be part of the conversation on digital transformation, like my president has also said. So our objective for convening this program is to bring together seasoned professionals and thought leaders who can provide practical insights on how governance can be made to respond effectively to the challenges and opportunities of our time. And we're incredibly proud and confident that the caliber of speakers assembled today reflect this vision. I know that our moderator is going to give their glowing approval, and we will be very, very happy and grateful that we are spending and investing this amount of time this morning. So I'd like to especially appreciate our distinguished guest speakers, ICSAN past president, Mr. Hakim Oguniro, FCIS, Mr. Sheson Shoboali, my own brother, FCIS, and Miss Sinuawe, my sister. So it's a family affair this morning. I'm sorry, ACIS, for graciously accepting to share their wealth of knowledge and experience with us. Distinguished speakers, your presence here today is a reflection of your commitment to the advancement of our profession and the broader issues of good governance. Let me also again acknowledge the guidance and unwavering support of our president, Mrs. Otto Opanam, FCIS, whose leadership continues to inspire excellence and innovation within the Institute. She is one president that has modeled the ability to act and think like an owner. So it's not just ICSAN is on the other side where I hear, no, she's demonstrating that every day that we think and we act like owners. We act and lead from our head and from our hearts. And I'm so grateful that she's modeling that. A lot of us are learning from that. Thank you so much, Madam President. My appreciation equally goes to the members of the Governing Council, my colleagues on the Publicity and Advocacy Committee. I want to especially appreciate the Vice Chair of the Publicity Committee, Uche Owecha, is here. He's been really supportive with every single member, the subcommittee that worked on the conversation tirelessly, getting everything together, curating an experience that we're going to really enjoy today. And I want to thank the Secretariat, led by the head of Secretariat, Ms. Akudazi, and her team, Julie, and everyone supporting Mr. Mustafa behind the scene for the dedication and hard work in bringing this program to fruition. Distinguished participants, I encourage each of us to actively engage with the discussions, listen attentively, and contribute meaningfully. I've always said that if you're in any gathering, either you're wasting your time or you're investing. Please choose wisely today. Choose to invest, be fully present, Thank you, thank you. Hello, can anybody hear me?
I
Hello.
can hear you
Yes, we
now.
I
can.
hear you now.
Okay, I think I got a clue from the technology issues there that it's time to stop. So thank you. I'll hand over back to the moderator to continue. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. Adiola, are you here, please?
Adiola, please unmute yourself. I hope she can hear us.
To the next item on the agenda, that is the introduction of our to read the
Mrs. Lasende, your
So
audio is breaking. Perhaps the secretariat take over because your audio is breaking. I don't know whether it's only from my end, but I'm struggling to hear.
Everywhere. I think.
okay.
So I could
It's from my end.
okay. If Adiola is unable to unmute for some reason, uh, please take over and do it. We don't waste time. Thank you.
I was doing that, but can anybody hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Can hear you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, Mrs. Lasende, I suggested that because your audio is quite epileptic, Akudazie may have to take over since it appears also Adiola is having some trouble. Akudazie.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me just quickly check. Do you have the questions for the panelists?
Please, can you share with her? Let her go into the introductions. And then please also help check why Adiola is unable to continue.
Okay.
Okay. Then please go ahead and introduce our keynote speaker so he can take off.
HOS, you want to go ahead with that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Go ahead. Yes. So we had introduced the keynote speaker and the first one. So it's Miss Tino. Are they aware that we have not introduced Miss Tino aware is the Chief Executive Officer of TMSN Limited, an advisory firm specializing in governance, ESG, and sustainability, and regulatory compliance. Though she also leads capacity building programs and advisory engagement for organization. She serves currently as the chair of Lilly Hospitals Limited. She's also the director of Sunbet Global Concepts Limited. She is also on the advisory board of Femu Vision Limited, a film production company, and on the board of FITC Sustainability ESG Institute. She has also contributed significantly to governance development in Nigeria through national and international roles. From 2018 to 2024, she served as a non-executive director of the Central Securities Clearing System PLC and chaired the governance committee. Ma, you're welcome to the conversation. So we'll go straight into the keynote speakers address and presentation. So, PP, Mr. Kim.
Sorry, HOS. There's no keynote speech. It's a moderated conversation.
Yeah.
Please remember that. So we introduce all the speakers and we go straight into the session where we ask them questions. Yes. So please introduce the two other speakers and we'll go right into it. Thank you.
Okay. The second speaker is Mr. Session Sobowale, the head Legal Services Union of Union Bank of Nigeria. Yes, just a minute, please. The session. So the question for the past president, Mr. Akpino Ogunero, FCIS, as former president of ICSAN and a respected voice in the corporate governance, how would you assess the institute's legacy of excellence in shaping governance practices in Nigeria, and what more should be done? Also, as a former president, what would you identify as the institute's most significant legacy contribution to corporate governance in Nigeria? And how can this be leveraged to address emerging challenges in sustainability and digital governance?
Are you hearing me? I don't know whether anybody's hearing me. Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Oh,
We can hear
okay.
you, sir.
Okay. Good morning. First of all, I'd like to specially thank Madam President for inviting me and others to join this conversation this morning. I'm very pleased to be here. I also want to especially say hello to other panelists, Sheson and Mrs. Awe, for this conversation. I think that, just to put everything in context, I always, when we speak of the legacy of ICSAN, I always like to start from a very granular perspective. We need to understand, number one, like Madam President said, that ICSAN is part of a global body. And if you look at evolution of corporate governance globally, our institute has been the leading protagonist of corporate governance standards, corporate governance issues over the years. It was our institute that created the platform for corporate governance. It was our institute, through several institutions, that curated the processes of understanding and deepening the benefits of corporate governance. It was our institute that accentuated the understanding of stakeholders and stewardship in corporate management, and creating a platform for organizations to understand that you have to be equitable and fair in balancing the interest of all stakeholders. That is why at the global level, our institute, the fundamental underpinning philosophy of our institute is stakeholder analysis, not just shareholder analysis. So at the global level, that's been what our institute has done. If you bring that to Nigeria, I want to assert that about 20 years ago, only our institute was propagating corporate governance in this country. Now everybody is trying to become champion of corporate governance. But I remember that during the global economic crisis, 2007, 2009, it was only our institute that was at the forefront of championing corporate governance in this country. And if you now want to begin to look at the legacies and what we've done as an institute, just starting from the angle of setting standards, of creating a platform for understanding what corporate governance means to business and institutions. That's been our institute. We set the standards, we set the framework for best practices, and we've always been at the forefront of advocacy for corporate governance. If you look at all the corporate governance code in this country, there's no code that you won't find one or two of our members who are involved in drafting and creating the codes. Over the years, our institute, our members have been at the forefront of driving issues around corporate governance. We've also been very deliberate and intentional about capacity building. So I recall that one of the reasons why we created a training department, which later evolved into a consultancy unit at ICSAN, was to provide a platform for putting out there clear-cut training programs, because there's a lot of you don't have that deep knowledge out there, so it was clear that we really had to create a platform for letting people understand what are the real driving issues in corporate governance. So our institute, we've always been there. We've been setting the standards. We've laid the framework, and we started corporate governance roundtables in 2007. At the time we started roundtables, nobody was doing corporate governance roundtables. We started roundtables, we started corporate governance conferences, and I remember that we were going from place to place, bringing together professionals, bring around corporate governance. So our institute, we've been there. We've created the right framework, setting standards for professionalism. We've been at the forefront of advocacy. This program that we're having today is in furtherance of our advocacy mandates. We've been heavily involved in driving policy, working with regulators, deliberately working with regulators, and trying to ensure that we have a voice in what corporate governance has to offer to organizations. And I think what we've also done, particularly for this country, also is to ensure that we create the right linkage with international peers. And you see how our people are doing great now at international level. I think that's also very important, because that also gives us ready insights into global best practices. And that is very important, because corporate governance evolves, and there are very many trends that you can leverage on best practices elsewhere and transplant them into our country, of course, with necessary modifications to drive governance and performance. So if I can just rest at this stage, I'll summarize that ICSAN, and soon to become CGIM, has been at the forefront of driving the significance of corporate governance, driving the business case. One of the things that we've always done is to drive the business case for corporate governance, because beyond just talking about corporate governance, what is the business case for corporate governance? How does it help to drive and sustain economic development, stakeholder value, create value, for the broad spectrum of stakeholders, And I think finally, for me, if I look at ICSAN and CSI generally, I think one of our greatest contributions would be to make people to understand that in every organization, you have a broad spectrum of stakeholders. We always talk about internal and external stakeholders. I think one of the greatest contributions of our institutes is to put it out there for organizations to understand that you must create processes that will manage the resources, optimize those resources in the interest of all stakeholders. So at any point in time, you have to understand the plurality of stakeholders and organizations, and the fundamental elements, of utilizing the resources of the organization must be for the benefit of the stakeholders, not a particular set of stakeholders. And that's why ICSA has a lot of rules and regulations that will prevent, for example, dominant personality. That's why we have seen all the reforms over the years around board composition, and all those things which have happened over the years. It is to understand that as an institute, what happened to mine? It is to understand that corporate governance helps to drive results, but that result must be for all stakeholders, not just a particular class of stakeholders. I think I'm just going to rest for now so that others can contribute to this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, RPP. Thank you very much. You can see the reactions from everyone. Thank you. I especially liked what you said about also understanding the plurality of stakeholders in organizations. That was very instructive. And that brings me to a question, a very little question to Ms. Awe. Having listened to the opening speech and opening remarks of presidents, and also the past president, and even also the opening remarks of our host for today, tying it all together in the light of your experience also as a governance expert, and especially because you've been a former chair of the Corporate Governance Committee of the FRC board, what are key areas that you believe the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance needs to evolve into to remain relevant, especially now in this digital economy?
Okay. Thank you very much for the question, and thank you very much to ICSAN for having me here. Can hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hello?
It looks like her screen is frozen.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, I apologize for that. Okay, so I was just saying thank you very much for the question, and thanks a lot to ICSAN for having me as a part of this conversation. So I think it's first in thinking about the corporate governance code, it's very important that we situate a number of things around digital. And around the timing of the code. So frankly, at this point, the code is almost 10 years old. And so obviously, whatever content that it has in it will be the understanding of the FRC and its team of experts that led to the creation of the code as of 2018. If you recall, it was signed into to become a regulation by Dr. Enelama in January of 2019, and then folks started reporting on it from financial years ending after January 2020, and then COVID came. COVID came 2021, 2019, 2021, depending on where it landed in the world at the time it landed. And of course, with COVID came a lot of innovation in the way that we do governance. Indeed, the fact that we're having this conversation through the instrumentality of digital means is an example of one of the things that rose at the time of COVID. And so there are certainly improvements that can be made in the code with respect to the several developments that have happened over the years. And because of limited time, I'm only going to touch on a number of them. If you look at the code today, you see that I believe it's the risk management principle. There is supposed to be board oversight around information technology. And it talks about the usual things, information technology, strategy, cybersecurity, third-party risk, and so on and so forth. But we all know that digital has moved us much beyond that. And so if we were looking at the code again today, we would certainly need possibly like King 5, a principle that is exactly speaking about data governance, speaking about technology governance, that is so much more robust than what we have there now. It has all the stuff that we have there, but it would also be talking about artificial intelligence and the governance of artificial intelligence. Very, very critical. All the aspects of that governance, whether you're talking about the responsible use of AI and the board oversight of that, the ethical use of AI, ensuring that AI does not have bias, ensuring that you have access to the data, proper and legal access to the data that you are using with your algorithms for AI, and also just the governance around ensuring that your employees are not, through the use of shadow AI, exposing your data assets to risk. So of course, there will also be things around in how the board and governance systems generally will deal with the decision making, especially where you are a company or an organization that has governance, but you are making decisions around people. Are you doing algorithmic decision making, and what's the human in the loop around that algorithmic decision making? So what one can expect is a very robust principle that deals with that digital, deals with information technology, deals with cyber, deals with AI, deals with data governance, certainly in the code. I think another thing that you can expect, and we've seen it with two regulators, we've seen it with the NCC and we've seen it with the CBN, where they've actually said we need to have people on our boards who have competence in these areas, that we cannot leave these areas. And this is not unusual. If you look at our code, finance, and you look at the audit committee is supposed to have, if you are going strictly by the code, at least 3 members. So at least if you are going with 3 members, it means you have 3 members who are supposed to be financially literate, 3 members who are supposed to understand financial and read and understand financial statements, and one of them is supposed to be an expert. So the idea of the code singling out and saying something is so important that we need experts, we will cause you as a restraint on your board diversity, as a restraint on your board structure, to bring in individuals who are competent in these areas. And we've seen it with the NCC, we've seen it with the CBN. The code may consider that we would actually require that there are people that have competence in these areas. I think another thing is the platform economy. We have a number of platforms now. You say the banks with the biggest numbers of active accounts holders are not the traditional banks. They are active account holders because of the digital economy. I'm not going to say names, but we all know who they are. Now, they are banks because they are regulated entities, and therefore they are bound, they are public interest entities and bound by the code. Should there be, and this is something I'm just going to throw out there, maybe for people to consider as well, should there be specific principles to deal with these companies that are within the platform economy, in order to ensure that the kinds of assets that they hold, there's specific governance that is customer centric around them, specific governance about the kinds of things that they can do with that data. It's just a food for thought, because we're in the platform economy. Now, I can't leave this issue without talking about ESG. And you'll be asking me, how is ESG concerned with digital? ESG is certainly growing, and it's gone, and there's no holding it back. And certainly, my view, just to divert a bit, is that section of the code that deals with sustainability, if we're getting a new code, will certainly become much more robust. But where I'm linking it to digital is that if we're requiring people to do ESG properly, then we should be ensuring that from an ESG perspective, we're dealing with the governance of digital inclusion, that we're dealing with the governance around, responsible digital engagement with people, and that we're also dealing with digital around social impact and accountability, which all tie into the S of ESG. So I think I've mentioned a couple of things: robust digital governance principles, potentially restricting the board composition and structure by including individuals who have competence in this area, and then linking ESG to digital and requiring some governance around some of those things. Before I go also on ESG, especially given that we're in an energy crisis, as you know, data centers are, even though we talk about data centers and digital helping us to reduce paper, data centers are actually the heaviest guzzlers in many companies of energy. and it's not necessarily renewable energy. So how do you, from a governance perspective, and how does the code deal with that? Is it by way of disclosure? Is it by way of requiring from an ESG perspective, also from a digital perspective, renewable energy plans for those companies that are very heavy on the use of data centers? I don't know the answers. I'm just bringing these things out, and I'm hoping to see some activity in the comment section about this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That's a lot of food for thought. I like that you're both telling us the things that we should be watching out for, as well as telling us the things we should be considering as we work with the organizations. I like the very detailed way you talked about the innovations that have come and the principles that we should be expecting and in an updated code of corporate governance. And that just makes me really think that as as people who are corporate governance professionals, we definitely have to be thinking outside of the box. So, Mr. Shobowale, let me bring you into the conversation now and just ask you, you've heard a lot of the things that Miss Awe said and the things she's mentioned, including making sure we even have people with competence in digital on boards. What practical steps would you recommend that boards need to take now to ensure that legal and compliance functions are effectively integrated into digital strategy and innovation processes?
Yeah, thank you very much, Adiola. And thank you, our president and fellow colleagues on the conversation. So let me start by making a digression before I respond to the question. And it is to say that I'm totally aligned with what Ms. Howe has shared around the fact that the NCCG is probably overdue for review. I am sure that at the time that the team that worked on that code while doing their work, it seems reasonable to assume that, it was robust enough to serve us for 10 years. But if you look at the significant changes that we've experienced in the last 5-6 years alone, I think that it should give food for thought to the next set of people who will be looking at a review of that code. And I know that our institute, ICSAN, as it did in 2018, will be playing a significant role in the review of the code. Now to your question. Essentially, I think that every board looking at the wide array of issues that it has responsibility for must go back and ask itself, do we have the directors with the right set of skills and experience to be able to navigate and provide oversight over this broad agenda? So the conversation must start with the right board composition. Do we have directors today across industry, whether that's banking and finance, whether that's telecom, whether it's even in FCMG, who have the requisite knowledge and experience in financial technology, ICT, cybersecurity, and if not, whether your sectoral code mandates it or not, I will recommend that you go shopping for that expertise. And I'll also say that for certain industries, complying with the requirements of the sectoral code to have an NED with ICT competence, like in banking and finance, in telecoms, should be the basic minimum. Boards in those sectors should consider very seriously having a board committee that is tasked with managing information communication technology, data issues, data governance, and cyber security. And what should these committees be doing? They should be providing regular oversight on compliance with the corporate policies on ICT, cybersecurity, on digital transformation, data use, and ensure that the organization has incident response plans and that these plans are cross-functionally integrated. And the reason why that is important is that sometimes you can overemphasize the importance of having experts, but there's a risk to that. Experts can become overconfident. Experts can fail to look around the corners. Experts can be blindsided, and they can be so close to the issues that they do not consider the wider implications. And that's why I would advocate, for example, that governance professionals should be integrated into departments of the company, for example, that deals with, cyber information security and so on and so forth, at least to provide the governance and compliance, or to strengthen the governance and compliance that is needed in those departments. Now, the board needs to lead with defining, for example, guidelines and policies around the use of artificial intelligence, for example, around ensuring that there's transparency and accountability in the use of AI for decision-making process. And they not only must be responsible for setting the policy, they must ensure that through regular, maybe quarterly, oversight meetings, inviting experts to review adherence to those policies, that those policies are being adhered to. And it all starts with, obviously, it's great to have ICT or directors with ICT competence, or even a committee focused on IT. But it goes without saying that in the same way as we expect management to be regularly upskilled, even the board or the board committee and the board as a whole should also invest in training on AI capability and the risk that comes with it, so that they can stay on top of the risk that they have been entrusted to manage. And finally, I would say that apart from training, how is the board itself in its own operations using AI? How is it modeling the appropriate use of AI? How is it mitigating the risk that comes with it? Because when they lead and they set that tone from the top, the entire organization will take their cue from that. And I think that the governance space, as we invest in technology, use technology, and broaden our economy, will be much better for it with the strategic leadership that the board is providing. Let me stop here for now. Thank you very much.
Yes, and amazing. Thank you so much. It was very nice to hear that. Yes, the board should lead in oversight of the use of AI, and also they should invest in upskilling themselves, but the board themselves should also be considering how are they themselves using AI. I thought that was brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm not seeing enough hands and claps. I think we should do a little more to encourage them, and drop your thoughts, as the speakers. This is called the conversation. Let's have a conversation around this. Drop your thoughts, share your comments, and the things that you loved, that resonated with you. Drop that here. And there's also a very critical aspect and a very critical industry when we look at the Nigeria's economy today, and that's the real estate sector. And so I'm coming back to our dear PP, Mr. Ogumiro. I just wanted to ask, with your own understanding, and in fact, a deep understanding of the intersection between capital market and rural sector development, are there governance reforms that you think are critical to unlocking sustainable investment? We've heard about ESG today, particularly in the real estate because of how pivotal that sector is to economic growth.
Thank you very much. I mean, before I answer your question, I want to also add to the point already made by Tinoade and Chesson on the need to review the NCCG. Let's remember that this is a 2018 regulatory code, and it took quite some time for it to come into effect. But the reality of the matter is that between 2018 and 2026, so much has happened. And particularly, if you take a look at King's Code 5, you'll see a lot of fundamental changes which have reflected the global trends in corporate governance. I think we also need to do that. One of the things I found very striking in King Code 5 was the fact that even though they had 17 principles before, they've compressed it to 13 so as to ease the understanding. But we still have like 27 principles, and it's very, very difficult. They've also clearly defined the outcomes. They've made the code to be of universal application. So you're not thinking of a code for SMEs, a code for this, a code for that. Those are the kind of reforms that we also should be thinking about. And I think our institute should be at the forefront of driving these points in the economy. About real estate, real estate is something that I love to talk about for obvious reasons. So the first thing is that we must understand that everything happens on land. That is where to any country that understands that everything happens on land. Everything happens on land. You build factories on land, everything is on land, Ms. Awe spoke about data centers. I always tell people in digital that what they call cloud computing, what they call the cloud, also resides on the ground inside data centers, and that's still real estate. So when you look at it all around, and today, last year real estate is 13.2% of the GDP. It's now number 3 in the economy. If you add construction, another 3 or 4%, you are looking at almost 17% of the GDP. That underscores the significance of real estate. Now, part of the challenge is that there are still so many institutional blockages that are not allowing real estate to play the crucial role that it should play in developing the economy, because it is supposed to be the number one catalytic sector. See, the difference between real estate and other sectors is that when you invest on other sectors, it will have multiplier effect later. But when you invest in real estate, the multiplier effect starts immediately, in terms of job creation, in terms of contributing to the economy, in terms of driving wealth creation and things like that. Now, if we try to tie that to the question on capital market, the capital market is supposed to be the platform for aggregating wealth, in any country, for aggregating capital for investment in any country, in any economy. Part of the challenges that I know that have not been properly done in real estate is real estate has not taken taken advantage of the opportunities available through the capital market, because we have to create assets. We have to create asset classes that appeal to capital, those who deploy capital, because capital is rational. Capital goes to where some specific requirements are there. What is the yield? What is the risk? What is the scalability, exit, and all that stuff, And I've been saying recently that real estate should take advantage of the capital market. Today, pension funds assets and net asset value of pension funds is about 28 trillion. The percentage investment in real estate and infrastructure is less than 1%. That's not good for the economy. So the kind of reforms that well, we need to see. I don't want to make this a real estate conversation. There are two things that I always say. If we're going to tackle real estate problem and allow real estate to drive the economy, number one, we must commoditize real estate. We have to be able to buy and sell houses the same way we buy and sell pretty much any other products. We have to be able to buy and sell houses, and to do that, we have to streamline the processes, the legal bottlenecks. I mean, Sheson knows all the issues around consent, around the consent fee, the processes, which are just too laborious. We have to do that. We have to commoditize housing. The second thing that we need to do is that we have to industrialize the process of creating houses. Today, we are still building houses. We have to start manufacturing houses. All of us today, if you want to build a house, you still go and call Baba Sharafa, Baba Toyib, Baba whatever, to come and work in your house. That will not work in a country where housing shortage, where home ownership penetration is 24%. Home ownership penetration in this country is 24%. So we need to take those two steps and then take advantage of the opportunities available on the capital market to generate significant funds to deliver housing at scale. What happens? It just catalyzes the economy, creating jobs, providing, reducing poverty, and all the things, and building a platform for wealth for people in the economy. Globally today, real estate accounts for about 60-something% of total store of wealth. But the challenge in this country is being able to take advantage of the opportunities in the capital market, and understanding that, and it all comes back to governance. Each time, let me just say this finally, each time I've been involved in raising capital for real estate, and I've had the privilege of doing that like 5 or 6 times, floating a bond, floating a REIT, doing rights issue, doing debt issue, and so on and so forth. The decision-making units in those who invest, they pay particular attention to your governance. They look at the people, they look at the structure, they look at your board, they look at the processes, even before they start looking at the numbers. These are the things they look at, and that comes back to governance. That comes back to understanding the value that governance brings to the table, So I think that, and this is not just for real estate, for every sector of the economy, we have to continually pontificate that governance lies at the root of creating the kind of value that will benefit everybody, not just in that sector, also the economy at the end of the day. Thank you very much. I don't want to make this a real estate conversation, Thank you, moderator.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. I know you didn't make it a real estate conversation. In fact, I really like the way you moved us from AI into real estate, and even saying that, how do you even start to talk about cloud computing if you don't even have a place to keep the servers? That was experts. That's what happens when an expert leads a conversation. Thank you so, so much. And I really liked what you said about us making things seamless, because that's how we can build a platform of wealth. And all of this is, of course, tied to corporate governance. How are we making sure that even that particular sector is not just hinged on the Baba Mukailas? I had a very good laugh when he said that. Indeed, thank you so much. So I'm going to, so making all of these corporate governance policies, whether it's real estate or any other sector, really does require a lot of between industry practitioners and also the regulators. So I want to turn this just and ask, in the light of your experience, you've been a governance expert for many years. and part of your roles has been with the NGX group, as well as other regulatory bodies. We've talked about your pivotal and crucial role, even with the FRC. And so now, in your position as an advisor to regulated entities, how do you think we can build collaboration between regulators and professional bodies like ICSAN, as well as even participants to strengthen these different sectors of the economy so that we can drive an actual culture of governance excellence in Nigeria? Because without that culture, how do we ingrain it into everything that we do, whether it's the board, the people that work? How do we drive that culture of excellence in Nigeria?
Okay. Thank you very much, Adela. So the first thing that I would like to say about this issue of collaboration is that we absolutely have to get it right if we want there to be a culture of governance excellence. And the reason why I say that is because folks go into business not because they want to be governed. They go into business to make money. Now, governance is about making money, but the folks who are making money need to realize that they need governance to make money. And so if you put the governance in front, what they see is all the requirements. And I've had people say, don't even know why I'm in business anymore, because I'm filing this, I'm reporting on this, I'm required to have this, I'm required to have that. And you see some folks who should be, as Mr. Ogunima was saying, opening up sectors of the economy. Because of the governance requirements, they are shrinking back and saying, I don't want all of that in my business. And so for us as folks who are interested in governance, who are apostles of governance, who believe that governance is actually the way of the future, we do have to be interested in these collaborations. Why? Because the collaborations make the burden less. So if that's one of the things that I would just like us to, that picture in mind. So what are some of the things that we can do? We have professional bodies like ICSAN. So you are at the level where you have people like me, captive, I don't want to call us licensees, but we're professionals. And that ACIS, FCIS, whatever we put behind our name is very good for us, because it helps us to be able to make a living from the fact that we're projecting ourselves as having certain abilities that the imprimatur of ICSAN gives to us. And so for us, requiring things like continued professional education. And with the continued professional education, and the collaboration with the regulator there is, if a regulator, for example, demands certain types of training in order to keep individual licenses, the licenses of individuals, is it possible that just as you can say, if I'm doing ICSAN because I have a degree in X and Y, certain courses I wouldn't have to meet. Is it possible that we can say certain things you wouldn't have to do for the regulator because they recognize that you are a member of ICSAN? And I'm not talking just only at the beginning, but on an ongoing basis. So it means that our training body, our training functions have to be up to the task. Our training functions have to be current and timely, and we need to be ready to open up to say it's not just going to be an ICSAN thing, an MBA thing, but because this is something that we want to be acceptable outside of the auspices of ICSAN or MBA or Nigerian Society of Engineers. I'm just using different professional bodies. We need to be open to the regulator to say, this is the curriculum, this is what we're doing. Can it fit for you? That is one area of collaboration. I think another area of collaboration we've seen with certain regulators and professional bodies is joint awards. So, we're going to award you X for being a governance professional, or for being the best governed company, or for being, these are all things that where that collaboration can come. With respect to market participants, I would like to call out a particular market participant, and that market participant is institutional investors. I think institutional investors, and locally we have them with the pension funds, we have them with the insurance companies. Those are two institutional investors. There are several others that have deep pools of capital to invest. But when you see them engaging, they're absent largely on engagements around governance, at least in a public fashion. I think organizations like ICSAN that are interested in governance, okay, we're interested in governance, we're interested in the propagation of governance principles. You are institutional investors, you have leverage in terms of the fact that you hold significant holdings of certain public interest entities. Is there a meeting of the minds where we can collaborate together to get to certain governance levels of governance excellence that are important? Do you want training around governance? Do you want to put governance into your investing metrics? And do you actually want to be able to hold the feet of governance bodies within corporations to the fire, so that level of governance excellence that we're looking for? So we need to look for those collaborations, and we need to find the people who wield certain powers. So as I said, ICSAN wields powers over folks who are practicing. Other professional bodies, MBA, NSC, NIEVS, they all hold different powers. The regulators have powers not only over the entities, but sometimes over the people. At least in the capital market, for example, they have significant powers over the people. So those are people that are members of certain associations. There's an obvious collaboration there. Then you have market participants, and I've given you just one example of a market participant that I think that if they rise up, the temperature of governance and excellence in this country the level of excellence will rise. So in the interest of time, I'm going to stop there, but I'm hoping again that we can have a conversation about some of these things. For example, why is it that when we have AGMs, we do not see the institutional investors asking questions? And yet they hold significant holdings of some of these companies. Why is it that they're absent? Is there something that we can do to encourage them from a professional body perspective, or for an institutional, or from a regulator perspective? As I said, I will stop there, and in the interest of time. Thank you very much, Adela.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mrs. Awe. I'm sure you saw all the thumbs up and the claps as you were speaking, because this was really, really rich. And just hearing how you've talked about us and the effect and what we can even do with regulators. I like that. Yes, we can actually say, because I'm a member of ICSAN, some things really should come as a benefit for me. That was amazing. Thank you so much. And you'd see comments, even with Mr. Adeyemo saying that, what you said about not going into business just to make money, but to ensure we instill governance. So thank you so much. Mr. Shobowale, I know that you also, in your role as a governance professional, you've had to help organizations build these things. So we've heard from the regulators angle and what we can do to collaborate, even just outside of the economy. So in your own view as a player now, and particularly as someone is also chartered, what would you recommend for all of us now? What should our role be in helping organizations build economic resilience amidst the several regulatory uncertainty and global disruptions that we're seeing happen now?
Thank you very much, Adeola.
Sorry, Mr.
Well,
Shibwale, just before you respond, just to encourage everyone to keep the comments coming, and please don't forget to drop your questions in the chat box so that all of our panelists can answer those. Over to you, Mr. Shibwale. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. What I'd like to say to my colleagues, governance professionals, is to never lose sight of the fact that our world is changing and keeps changing. And therefore, what we offer as governance professionals must also continue to evolve. Gone are the days, I dare say, when our role was restricted to have we complied with this principle, that principle, have we filed, this set of reports with this regulator or that regulator. I think that we must go beyond that to help the board that we serve to navigate the changes that are going on around us, whether that's in the digital space, in technology, and innovation, and the disruptions that we continually see, whether that's caused by war, by pandemic, by technological breakthroughs, and the risk that comes with this innovation, including how do we manage the risk and how do we return the business back to sound footing or even stronger footing after the risk has been sufficiently mitigated. So I would say governance professionals should seek knowledge, pay attention to what is going on around you. If you work in a company secretariat, you will obviously be important or critical in helping the board to shape its agenda on these various issues. If you work in compliance, your knowledge and your skills will be essential in managing the risk around the changes that we see, data privacy risks, cybersecurity breaches, etc., etc. And as compliance becomes wider and more encompassing, we need to begin to see opportunities in far-flung departments of our corporations beyond the company secretariat or legal, in compliance, in information security, and so on and so forth. And then secondly, governance professionals need to become sector agnostics and be prepared to move across industries. The skills that have served you well in FCMG, in banking and finance, will be critical to advance your careers in new sectors or beyond what you're traditionally familiar with, like telecoms. And that's even happening today. We see a number of, in fact, most of the people in telecoms, for example, coming for talent in financial services, in FCMG, across industry, because they recognize that those skills will be critical to their success in their new business ventures as they push back the boundaries of innovation and they come with new products. I would also like to say that our governance professionals, especially those who work with boards, need to recognize that, whether you've been given that title or not, you are the CEO of the board. And you must lead from the front, not only in shaping agendas, but also in directing the attention of the board and those responsible for governance to new developments that might impact your business. And part of your responsibility is to ensure that your board is kept informed around what is happening in regulation, in reporting, in technology, in data governance, and then guiding them to make the necessary changes to your policies and your the practices in your company. Finally, I would like to also say that the governance professional must be at the forefront of facilitating the necessary conversations that need to be had between the board and the executive in the various companies, and make sure that you provide your board and executive management with the information that they need from the professionals in the business to make informed and critical decisions for the future of the business. Thank you very much.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Shubawale. Thank you. And it is true. Indeed, we cannot afford to lose sight of the fact that the world is changing and we must be changing along with it. But I like that you went beyond that and even talked about us building structure that enables us to, that encourages innovation, because truly, without those systems, it will just be built on people. It's those systems that encourage legacy. This was so good. My notes are full, but I don't want to hog the microphone. And I know that a lot of people had comments, and also we might have a couple of people who have questions as well, because this was a lot of nuggets. I feel like we should have given each one of you a whole day to take us through everything that you had to say. Thank you so much. Please encourage my panelists again with another generous round of applause. Thank you so much, past presidents, Mr. Oguniro. Thank you so much, Mr. Oya, and thank you, Mr. Shubawale. This was very enlightening. I just wondered if anyone had, by show of hands, if you had a question, if Secretariat will kindly allow participants on mute at this time. If you have any questions for any of the panelists, please, by show of hands. Going around to see if we have any questions for any of the panelists. Really enjoyed this, and you can tell that everyone did as well, because the numbers have been increasing, numbers of participants have been increasing. My vice chair, Mr. Witcher, please unmute and ask your question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adiola. This is like a buffet of brainy ideas. When you look at the combination of the three resource persons, you know that we have something in our hand. I really want to appreciate every one of them. I have a few questions or comments, and it goes to, first of all, to Mr. Oguniro. So you've spoken about the need to commoditize and industrialize the rail sector. And it's such a radical, innovative idea. So I want to ask you, I know the real estate operators, they have some association or groups, please, and we know that one of the greatest impediments to the growth of real sector is the Land Use Act, and is being embedded in the Constitution. So I want to ask you that, is there any move now to repeal that, remove it from the Constitution and repeal it, so that we can start afresh to look at landed property not as a British legacy. We are no longer protectorate of southern and northern Nigeria. This is a democratic country, so that we can begin to see real action. So we would like to have an insight. Is there any movement in that direction, or you want us to start the revolution? Because indeed, there has to be a revolution. For government to see land as not something they are just collecting a susu from, this fee, that fine, all sorts of things, and allowing people to trade it and establish a very, very modern and simplified registries where you just buy and sell and do registration and all that. I think it would be good to have more insight if there are already action in that direction. My second question goes to my Professor of Practice, POP, Madam Tinoawe. I mean, you didn't disappoint. And as usual, you have laid it bare as to why technology, digitalization, AI in risk management are now inevitable. I want to ask you, Ma, that in view of the role you have played in previous codes, is there, and if there is none, what effort is being made to urge FRC as now the custodian of corporate governance Nigeria from the official point of view to start, so that we won't be like the Companies and Allied Matters Act that took 31 years to amend? Please, we would like to know what is being done, because they say actions speak louder than voice. And then finally, for Sheso, we looking at ICSAN, for example, you can see we are about 133 at the peak attending this meeting. We have this problem that people go to ICSAN and then they become associates or they become fellows and they just fizzle out. You don't see them again. You don't, So I really want to ask you if you have any idea how we can keep, like, I think ICANN does that. They try to keep their members. They must attend some annual this thing compulsorily. How do we get our members to see beyond writing minutes and keeping records, to see the universe that is open to them, so that they can become more relevant and more informed about what is going on? I want to thank you, three of you, for your very insightful and thought-provoking contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Those are very loaded questions. So let's start with, I'm glad you asked everyone. Let's start with our PP, Mr. Oguniro, and then Ms. Awe. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for the question on the Land Use Act. Like I said, that I'm really trying to refrain from us turning this into a land law or land use act conversation, But just to answer your question, so two answers I'm going to give. The first one is that whether there is a lot of, whether there's any movement, I want to assure that there's a lot of effort in that direction. There are bills pending before the National Assembly now on some areas for land reform. Let's understand, first of all, that since the Land Use Act was enacted in 1978, there has been no major review to date. And just imagine what has happened globally. Just imagine, I think we need to. Okay. So let's just imagine what has happened since 1978 in the world of business, So we're trying to operate a very dynamic sector of the economy with a law which is clearly anachronistic. And it's just as simple as that. But there's a lot of reforms which have taken place. There are some states that are taking the bull by the horns. Lagos State recently launched its digital framework for titling and for planning approvals, which I believe is a major step. And there are other states also which are taking some major step in that respect. However, let me tell you my own view, my own very strong view about the Land Use Act. I've always said that the aspect of the Land Use Act, which is the aspect of land use regulation, which is causing the most problem around consent fees and related matters, right? They are not based on the substantive provisions of the Land Use Act. Go and check. What the Land Use Act simply says is that it shall be unlawful for XYZ to alienate without consent. The Land Use Act does not state the procedure for getting the consent. It does not state the fees to be paid for the consent and who should sign and all those things. So all those problems are created out of regulations which various governments have formulated under the Land Use Act. And they can change it tomorrow. And some states that are very smart have already changed it. They can change it tomorrow. There are regulations formulated by states because, unfortunately, a lot of states have imputed revenue generation philosophy into the Land Use Act, which wasn't the idea. So what you've seen is that a lot of states, they've recognized the significance of land. They've recognized the significance of streamlining the process for getting title, and they've taken major steps in that respect. And that's what I always counsel each time I have the opportunity. So whilst we are waiting for major overhaul of the Land Use Act, the main problem around consent processes, around perfection, around the fees that you pay, the rate that you pay, they are not fixed by the substantive provisions of the Land Use Act. They are under the regulation, and these regulations were formulated by the various states, and they can be changed. So any state that is smart, knows what to do. And that, I think, is the way to approach it whilst we are waiting for the larger issue of repeal or overhaul of the Land Use Act through the Constitution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I'll now hand over to Ms. Awe to answer, and I promise everyone that we'll be out of here by 1. Thank you so much. Ms. Awe, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Adeola. So Uche wants me to speak for the FRC, which I'm not authorized to. I'm not affiliated with the FRC. And I'm not affiliated with the FRC. I think there's an echo. My understanding is that there is an ongoing process with respect to reviewing the code. And I know that the FRC has reached out to a number of stakeholder institutions, and including this one, with respect to that effort. So I think we should watch this space. The FRC has been very active in other areas, as we know, and I expect that they want to be active in this one as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So watch this space, everyone. I'm sure you remember that you heard it first at ICSAN, the changes that are coming. Hello. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that I had been muted. Mr. Mayadara, FCIS, our dear council member, please ask your question, but let's keep it short. We're trying to get out, close the meeting by 1 so we can give back everyone their time. Thank you. Please unmute and ask your question.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator, for this opportunity. Good afternoon, everybody. I have an observation and I have a question. But first, I would like to join the earlier colleagues of mine who have spoken and who have expressed appreciation to this powerful team. I was company secretary legal advisor of a bank in the 90s, and I can say that governance issues that we discuss today are vastly different from what obtained then. It's a very, very huge topic that continues to evolve. And so any opportunity for me to learn through exercises like this, I take full advantage of them. We have a powerful panel this afternoon, that's very clear. Mr. Tinoawe used to work in a large law firm in the US in those days. And I remember an interview on This Day Lawyer, where she was introduced to the Nigerian legal community before she came. And since arriving and working in Nigeria, she has been in the forefront of corporate governance. We all know she's on the Council of FRS, and they're doing a whole lot in this space. Mr. Hakim Oguniro, few people would know that he actually started his career as an academic in the Faculty of Law of the University of Lagos before he went into private sector and is a big player in the property market. Mr. Sheson Shobowale has a very, very exciting profile. He is in banking, but before then, he was in manufacturing, working in Guinness and in telecommunications. So we have actually the joy to listen to three powerful speakers. My comment and my observation is that materials on corporate governance are scarce in this environment. So if you have to deal with corporate governance issues, you probably have to rely on materials from outside. And it is obvious that our own environment has its peculiarities. I wonder whether these speakers, maybe this is a challenge, maybe it's an observation, maybe it's a clarification. I wonder whether they can explore the opportunity, given their vast experiences in this area, to consider actually the authorship of a book that will serve not just the institutes, but also the industry, where they can actually explore very interesting and topics. That is my question, and I'll be keen to have an answer whether we can expect a collaboration between the three of them towards the authorship of a book on corporate governance that actually would reflect the peculiarities in Nigeria and also the peculiarities within subsectors. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, our council member. And it felt very good to hear you validate that, our committee chair and the rest of the committee did bring powerhouses, and I'm sure everyone agrees as well. So I'll just let you take the question. Our PP, Mr. Hakim Oguniro.
I think we should delegate to Tino to answer the question. Sheson Abi, let's delegate to
I agree.
Tino Abi to
Okay.
answer on our behalf.
Okay, I'm just shooting. And Mr. Sheson, maybe you'd like to, say a little thing afterwards, and then we'll hand over. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, part of the questions that Uche asked earlier was around, so how does ICSAN keep its members involved and engaged post-communication? First of all, I'll be the first to acknowledge that ICSAN is already doing a lot. There's a lot of collaboration going on with training institutes, the universities, and so on and so forth, and through town and gown events such as this. So really, I'll reframe the question to mean, what more can ICSAN do? Now, people are essentially looking for value, whether they are licensed by ICSAN or they don't even have any formal governance certification, and so on and so forth. So ICSAN must continue to demonstrate the value that it can give to governance professionals. And I think that's the best way to attract them. And the way to define value is to say, look, what are the pain points of this professional, this individual? What is he going through, right? What problem is he looking for solutions for? And luckily, for ICSAN. We have our members across, in key roles, governance roles across various industries. So perhaps we should have another conversation around, enhancing the value proposition of ICSAN. That's one consideration. Another one is to then think beyond the usual set of stakeholders. So we focus on people who are in governance roles, people who are interested in governance. But what about the stakeholders of those professionals, right? What do boards look out for in their company secretaries? What do management of companies look for in those who help them to shape governance in their organizations? And maybe we should ask them those questions directly, so that when we recognize that, then we'll begin to upskill our members and our potential members in these various areas, so that when boards and management are looking for, the people that can serve them the most, and we have to look at it from their prism, because sometimes the way you sit around the table may shape your perspective. But when we bring into the conversation the users of our services, perhaps we'll get an insight into what we need to do to engage and keep engaged our members and potential members and people who have even made up their mind that, an ICSAN certification is not necessary, because everyone is always looking for improvement. Everyone is looking for how to delight their stakeholders. And I think that if we help them to solve that problem, then we can make our membership sticky and we can begin to create citizens of ICSAN. Thank you.
Just
Hello. Thank you so much. So thank you. And yes, this is what the conversation is all about, sharing ideas and discovering ways to move it forward. Thank you so much. I hope that I'm sure everyone here is taking notes and seeing where they fit into it. I'd like to invite
Madam
Mr. Webb
Moderator,
also leaning into the conversation.
Madam
To answer the
Moderator,
question. Yes, sir.
if I may, I don't want to be disruptive, but I have not heard an answer to my question.
Okay. Mr. Webb would answer your question, I'm sure. Or is there
Okay.
anyone else?
So
Okay. Please go ahead, ma'am.
I will let me answer it by saying that I can speak for the gentleman when I say we'll take it under advisement. Thank you very much. Yes, and I'm receiving a thumbs up a smile from my brother, who I call King's Counsel for reasons best known to me, and from the PP as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. The conversation does not end here. This is just the beginning. There's several other activities that will come up and several other ways that will collaborate together at ICSAN. And I'd like everyone to remember to call one more person and tell another person, and don't keep all of these insights to yourself. Make impacts in your organization, because that's how we can continue to compound the influence that we have at ICSAN. Don't let all of these fantastic insights that we've had just fall off after we drop off from the call. It's been an amazing afternoon. In the words of one of the past ministers we had in Nigeria, I think you would all agree that the time spent was well spent. Thank you again, our past PP. Mr. Hakim Ogonimo. Thank you so much, Mr. Awe. You still owe us that inside gist on how Mr. Shobowale is King's Counsel. Mr. Shobowale, thank you so much. I don't know who I'm visiting first to hear that gist, but thank you so much. We really appreciate you, and we hope that the next time we call, you will be available. I won't put you on the spot and ask you to answer that immediately, but you can be sure that we will call again. Thank you so much. And to everyone who's been patient and have stayed till the end, thank you so much. Let the conversations continue and let our impacts continue. And so with that, I'm very happy to call on and to hand over to our HOS, our dear HOS, Miss Akadeze Ndubu ACIS.
Thank you very much, Adela. Thank you so much for waiting. I'd like to recognize the presence of ICSAN Council members who joined this session, Mr. Dele Togunde FCIS, Mr. Babatunde Pelora FCIS, Professor Bayo Adarolekwe FCIS, Mrs. Benedicta Shadari FCIS, our past president Bode Ayeku FCIS, Ms. Ronke Opajobi FCIS, Dr. Tony Okuma FCIS, our immediate past president, Mrs. Fumi Ekundayo FCIS, the council member and the chair of Kaduna chapter, Mr. Abibu Tijani Mohammed FCIS, and Mrs. Nkechi Onyeso FCIS, our past president Omoba Taiwo Kinga Wokolade FCIS, and of course, Professor G.O. Demaki FCIS, who is not a council member, but is a prominent member of the institute. Thank you so much, sir. We'll go on to the presentation of the plaques. So I would like to call on our president and chairman of the governing council, Mrs. Uto Pana FCIS, to present the plaque to our esteemed past president, Mr. Hakim Oguniro FCIS. Madam President.
Thank you. Thank you once again. And I'm really delighted to see how participants were quite involved in the discourse. I was reading through the chats, and I have asked that the Secretariat compile the chats, particularly with respect to what they want to see, where they want to see ICSAN in the next 60 years, because this should be a pulse check for the council now and in the future to see whether they have met the aspirations of members. So quite a lot of content there. Once again, let me join to thank all our speakers during this conversation, our past president, Mr. Hakim Oguniron, FCIS, Mr. Sheson Shobowale, FCIS, and Ms. Tinu Awe, ACIS. I know that ACIS will soon become FCIS. So thank you very much for the insights shared. To our past president, Hakim Oguniron, thank you very much for your insight shared through experience across board. You kept saying that you don't want to make this about the real estate markets, but I was actually quite delighted being that you're the advisor to the building committee, because the more you make it about property, the more members will remember that we do have one currently ongoing. So thank you for all the references. Thank you for the really practical nuggets shared. I don't know whether they can project the virtual plaque. Akudezi, are you projecting the virtual plaque? I can't see it. Okay. If it's not available, on behalf of the Governing Council of ICSAN, it's an honor for me to present this virtual plaque. Okay, there it is. To our past president, Hakim Oguniron, FCIS, as a speaker at today's conversation. Thank you for your insights. It was a real conversation, and we hope that this conversation will continue even after today's events. Thank you very much, Past President Oguniron. Okay, just to say the real plaque will be sent to you. So please accept this virtual plaque for now.
Thank you, Madam President. I've collected it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Next, we go to the presentation of the plaque to Mr. Ascension Sobowale. This will be done by Mrs. Abiola Lasende, FCIS, Chairman of Publicity and Advocacy Committee.
Thank you, HOS. I'm trying to manage my bandwidth, so I don't even know if my camera is, my video is up, but I hope you can hear me. Can anybody hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you. You may want to actually turn off your video.
Okay, I think that has been helping me. Alrighty, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. I have the pleasure of presenting this appreciation plaque to my own brother, Mr. Sheson Shobowale, FCIS, as one of our distinguished speakers at today's session. Mr. Shobowale, thank you for the great insights, the practical tips, and even challenging us as those charged with governance to be more, to do more. I listen to you. Every single point is as if I should just, go out of here and start implementing. So thank you. On behalf of the chairman, the president, and the chairman of the governing council, I present this to you for an excellent delivery for today. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Bella. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Madam Chairman. Next, we will go to presentation of plaque to Chinuade Aware ACIS. This will be done by the Mr. Uche Wacher, ACIS Vice Chairman, Publicity and Advocacy Committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, can you hear me?
Sir, we can hear you, sir.
Thank you very much, HOS. I don't know whether it's coincidence or they know, because about 17 years ago, I went to a conference at Ozumbambadiwe, Radisson Blue. And then a lady stepped forward and started talking about the fourth industrial revolution. At that time, digital AI was not hot topic at all. But she was talking about the fact that the future will not be able to, in Nigeria, we can't do risk management and governance if we do not bring in technology, digitalization, the fourth industrial revolution. And I'm happy to say that today, she didn't disappoint. She's now speaking about updating our risk management, ensuring we have governance around AI hallucination, AI bias, data protection, and the fact that we need to collaborate in an entirely different platform and bandwidth. Madam Tinuawe, I'm happy that Madam President and Chairman of Council has declared it, because you speak, as you always done, as the fellow you are. Extremely brilliant, but very unassuming and humble. I'm so grateful, ma. You know, I met you recently at another event, and you did not disappoint. And today, you have once again shared with us very, very powerful nuggets. I noted them down. And as the chair of Publicity and Advocacy Committee have said, we need to put this thing down and begin to action them. On behalf of the chairman and president of ICSAN, Mrs. Uto, FCIS, the council, and the entire ICSAN community, we want to thank you. This plaque is just to recognize that you spoke here, but I think the best we can do for you is to put in practice the things that you have told us. My dear sister, my dear intellectual friend, professor of practice, accept this plaque as a token of our appreciation. God bless you.
Thank you, Uche. You are always so kind. I accept. Thank you very much. And thank you to ICSAN. Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next is the presentation of the plaque to the moderator, Mr. Viola, the ICIS. And this will be done by the chairman of Publicity and Advocacy Committee, Mrs. Abiola Lassen, the FCIS. Madam Chairman.
Let me just quickly go to it. Thank you, Ms. Tinua, where we are always looking forward to having you speak at our events, at our program, because the fresh perspective you bring, you're a radical speaker, you dimensionalize issues from every point. I mean, look at the ESG twist. That was really refreshing, and it just opened my brain as well to say, we are multidimensional, and where we sit, we are multi-sectoral, and it's good to think in all those dimensions. So thank you so much for another excellent delivery today. And again, on behalf of the president and the chairman of the governing council, I wish to present this plaque of appreciation to you for an excellent job and enriching our thoughts, our capacity.
Sorry, Mrs. Lasende, can you hear me?
Yes, ma.
Okay, you're meant to be presenting to the moderator.
Oh, thank you, this network.
No worries.
All right, thank you. Thank you. I even thought I had just one slot. So I'm glad I was able to give Miss Awe some compliment, giving her back her flowers. So our moderator, thank you so much, Ms. Yola Ulumeo. We called you at very short notice and you said yes. Thank you for today's moderation, for doing a very good job, professionally done, and just keeping all of us glued to this meeting. Thank you. So on behalf of our president and the chairman of the governing council of ICSAN, Mrs. Uto Opana, this appreciation plaque to you. It's a virtual one coming with warm hugs to say thank you for an excellent job. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you so much to all our speakers. I'd like to call on the Vice President, Mr. Francis Olawale, FCIS, who has been in this session from the very beginning. And Madam, as our Vice President, please, for the closing remarks and vote of thanks.
Thank you so very much, Head of Secretariat. Permit me to say good afternoon. I'm not sure anybody has officially done that. We started this meeting in the morning, the other side of the day. So permit me to say good afternoon, everyone. It's been an exciting one. and I have learned a lot. That's what you get when you have a trio of very experienced and knowledgeable people. I've learned a lot. And, so for me, the summary of all that has been said in one or two sentences will be the fact that governance will never go out of fashion, irrespective of the evolving world, the advancements and then the civilization. So our speakers in their various utterances have been able to say to us that establishing proper governance, through proper structures and deploying appropriate principles will position any organization for growth and to be able to face the markets, across sectors and interface appropriately with their prospective customers and the people that they serve, and also work well with regulators. In rounding it up, our speakers were able to say to us that as governance practitioners, we should be able to live up to the standard by upscaling every other time to ensure that we are equipped enough to steer the ship of the companies to be able to meet strategic imperatives. That would be the summary of all of it. And like the moderator said, there were a lot of nuggets. If I start to unravel all that I've learned, we will not leave here. But I want to honor our words that we will leave here on time. Having said that, I would like to start by saying a very big thank you to our participants. That was where I was going when I said good afternoon. Our numbers have not dropped since morning. Our participants stayed glued. Of course, that's a testament, first of all, to the robustness and the quality of the discussion. But again, we still give kudos to them for waiting to the end. So thank you so very much, our participants, members, non-members alike. We appreciate you. Now to the moderators. Because of time, I would not. I have a lot of questions, especially the names that I'm seeing, flying around. Professor of Practice, King's Counsel, real estate mogul, and all of that. The time will not permit. I'll just like to say a very big thank you to you. Our dear PP, thank you so much. You brought in experience. You had full grip of the direction of your utterances and your presentation. Thank you so much. Mr. Sheson Shobale, former council member, the King's Counsel, as you have been called this afternoon. I look forward to knowing more about that, but not at this point. Thank you so much for your very insightful contributions. And to Ms. Tinua, where so coincidental that the three panels, the trial chose you to give the response with respect to authoring a book for us. Ironically, you're my colleague in the publications committee. I don't know, maybe they had an insight, about that, or the spirit just led them. So I'll be looking forward to your final decisions and then bringing it home to the publications committee. We'll gladly help you publish the book when the three of you have made that decision. So thank you very much. You've made the discussion worth it. And then to the big one, council members. I know they've been listed earlier, but I'm not very sure I heard some names. I had the intention to just say all council members as have been mentioned by the head of secretariat. I'm not sure I heard also. I'll crave the indulgence of everybody for me to just go through. Again, for that reason, the list of council members as I have noted. And I would like to start, of course, with our PP, once again, who are already thanked as a speaker. Past President Akim Oginiwan, thank you so much for your presence and then your participation. Mr. Badiayeku, thank you so much. Always silently, quietly waiting there, but always there to support. Thank you. Omobatai Wokalade, I also noticed you started and then you stayed to the end. Thank you so much for being with us, and I recognize you. Mr. Babatunde Belewua, all the way from Abuja. I think you were one of the first to log in. I'm not sure I've heard your name in the earlier recognition. Thank you. I note your presence and I say thank you to you. Dr. Tony Okoma, thank you very much as well for your presence. And Alaji Abibu Tijani, Council Member, Chairman, Kaduna Chapter, thank you. I note your presence. Mrs. Abiola Lasende, of course, Chairman of the committee that has put this together, but I note and recognize you as a member of the Governing Council. Mr. Dele Togunde, I recognize you. FCIS, I recognize you as well. Thank you. Ms. Ronke Opajobi, not sure I heard your name earlier as well. I note and recognize your presence. Mrs. Benedicta Shadare, I note and recognize your presence. Zizinkechi Onyengso, I also note and recognize your presence. And then last but not the least, erudite Professor Adebayo Adawalegbe, FCIS, I note and recognize your presence. Thank you all very much, council members, for turning up in your numbers. I would like to also say a very big thank you to the committee that put this together. And then, of course, I heard the chairman of the committee said there was a subcommittee that put the conversation together. The conversation is going bigger and bigger every time. And again, you've not disappointed today. So to Mrs. Lassie, your entire team putting this together. And lastly, the secretariat team, heavily led by Ms. Ngozi Kudaze Ndugu, FCIS, the IT team, and the entire members of secretariat. Thank you all. To everybody, I want to wish you a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you, and God bless. I hand over now to the secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice President. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for staying on to the end. Let us hold on now for the national.
Please, can we take a picture? At least for those who are left.
Okay. So everyone put on your cameras for group photos.
Are we done?
It's we're almost done. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Madam President. So hold on for national anthem.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign
Tina. Tina, you write that book with your colleagues.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Vice President. Thank you to all our speakers.
God bless you, ma.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Lawale, FCIS. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Well done, as usual. Good to see you.
Same here, sir.
Well done, sir.
Ọmọ Èkó
Well,
pàtàkì. Good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, sir. LDP.
Elder Togunde, good afternoon, sir.
Uweche, good
Sir,
afternoon.
good
How are
afternoon.
you?
I'm fine, sir.
The orator. Hmm?
Following your footsteps, sir.
Well done, well done.
Well done, sir.
My VP.
Yes, Elder.
HOS, thank you so much.
Are you hungry with me?
No, sir.
Okay. Yeah.
Not at all.
Elder
Right.
Pelehura, I agree.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm greeting you very, very well.
Elder.
Very, very much.
Congratulations on climbing the 7th floor.
Thank you very much. That's Elder Togunde.
God bless you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes,
Bye
sir.
now.
Bye.
Okay.